Hello everybody and welcome to my quick guide for the Phosani's Nightmare. I'm currently doing a series and I am grinding the Phosani's Nightmare for an episode in this series. If you haven't caught that, you can catch that here. But enough of that, let's get right into what you will need to kill this boss. So, as you can see, my inventory, I pretty much have the max gear, but you really don't need max gear to kill this boss. I would recommend, if you're learning it, to at least have a Sanguinesti staff. But other than that, you can bring a trident. You can bring, you know, I wouldn't really recommend any less than a trident of the swamp. But then you're going to want, obviously, an occult with you. So you're going to want at least a staff, an occult, any DPS items. You could really do away with robes since the towers have really no mage defense. But as you become more experienced, you can add more to your switches. But the basic necessities are a DPS weapon. You're going to want your occult, any jewelry, and a cape slot. So that's what you're going to need. You can really start out with just a weapon and an occult and bring the rest in food, as there is a learning curve. But highly recommend that you add on to that afterwards. Next, you're going to need a weapon to DPS the Sleepwalkers, and I'll show you exactly what those are. There's 4 different times you're going to see Sleepwalkers, and you'll need to kill them. They die to really anything. I use a Webweaver bow or crossbow. I sometimes use a blowpipe. It really just depends how I'm feeling that day. But yeah, so when you're learning, I would recommend the blowpipe. Or you could even use a magic short bow if you don't have a blowpipe, and for all the irons out there. Next weapon, I highly suggest that you have an Elder Maul. I really don't know what else could one-hit the Parasite, but I've seen people bring like an SGS. I really like the Elder Maul for this boss, and at the end of the day, it is a pretty endgame boss, and not a lot of people kill it because of how grindy it is. So if you are doing this boss, it's at this point you probably should have yourself an Elder Maul. The next thing is you're going to want a ham joint. I often really neglected to bring this when I was learning this boss, but the ham joint is nice for when you are trapped in Phosani's husks, which is a special attack she does, and I'll explain that much later, all of her special attacks. But this is a 3-tick weapon, so you're going to be able to kill those husks a lot faster. Some people bring a Din's Bulwark as an addition to this because the special attack kills the husks and damages Phosani's. But if you're really not trying to sweat like that, this will do just fine. And then you're going to want your DPS weapon. You can bring a Scythe in full ink, or you can bring Bandos in a bludgeon, or Torva in a bludgeon. You can bring less. You can bring a fighter torso, Bandos Tacits in bludgeon. I'll go ahead and put a gear progression tab up on the screen now that you can check out. Go ahead and pause the video now to see what you're going to need for gear. And then moving on from that, you're going to want a spec weapon if you have one available. Really anything that's going to be able to cut through high defense. So I suppose you could use a Fang. I'm using a Void Waker, which is the best in slot. You can use Dragon Claws, which is a popular choice as well, and that is not needed, but it definitely helps speed up the kill. Next, my inventory is a little bit more of an advanced one, but you can replace some things in here with food. So I bring 2 prayer pots and 2 Sanfew serums. For you Iron Man, you can bring the balm. I'll go ahead and leave that up on the screen now too, that you can use the balm. I'm not an Iron Man, I just use Sanfew serum. And for the pots, I bring a full Divine Super Combat. I don't ever use the whole thing, but it's just habit at this point. You will need at least 2 doses to bring with you. I recommend bringing a full one while you're learning in case you have to repot, because I'm assuming you might have brews. If you're bringing brews, just bring a normal combat pot. And then I have an angler. I pretty much have my pre-pot, which is a 1 dose to Karamban, angler to stamina. And then I pre-pot that and replace it all with anglers. You don't need soul runes, but I bring them because I like to death charge for speedy kills. That's more of an advanced tactic, which you can definitely pick up later on as you become more comfortable. If you have an imbued heart, definitely bring it, or a saturated heart. But for, if you're an Iron Man and you just don't have a heart yet, I totally understand that. You don't really need one, but once again, it helps speed up the kills. This is just a filler spot here, but you can replace it with food. This is where I go to bank, so I just bring my crafting cape. You'll need a means of teleporting to the boss, so I have the tablet, so I can teleport right pretty much close to the boss. If not, you're gonna have to teleport to the top bank and then run yourself there. So, and then I have thralls. When you're learning, you could replace it with food just to secure the kill, but eventually thralls are going to kind of be a necessity. So now that I have my inventory all explained, I'm going to switch to what I have on. So full ink, or otherwise known as Inquisitor, Infernal Cape. You can bring Infernal Fire Cape, doesn't really matter. Another option is to bring a Myth Cape. That is also a very good thing if you're on Crush. Some people bring the Tyrannical Ring. I just rock the Berserker Ring Eye. Ferocious Gloves, a Vernic, my spec weapon, because they're a pair. I use a Blood Fury for convenience sake, but most people who like super speedy kills are being a torture. I prefer to just relax and chill. And then an Unholy Blessing, or you can use a Rada's Blessing. And then I have Prims. So that's pretty much what I'm wearing right now. So now I'm going to go do a kill, and then I will break down the kill as I'm doing it to kind of show you what's going on. I'll try to make it as simple as possible so that you can really follow along and get a feel for this boss. But I want to just let you guys know, if I had to rate this boss on a difficulty scale, 1 being absolutely piss easy, O-Bore level boss, and 10 being the most intense, no pillar inferno, ultra mega grind, Sweatlord 600 invocation, whatever, I would probably rate this boss probably like a 7. It has quite the learning curve, and will really teach you a lot about, how you're killing bosses and what you're doing, pathing and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, when you get it down, everything becomes second nature, and I promise you, with a little bit of practice and determination, you will also be able to kill this boss. So now I will be going to go kill this boss, and I'll try to break down the kill for you the best I can. Alright, let's go ahead and pre-pot and get right into it. So just so you guys know, there is a 60k death fee if you die here, and if you die again before you collect your items, you will lose them forever, so be very careful. Alright, let's pause right here. So the first thing that you're going to want to do as soon as Phosani starts to come alive is make sure that you turn on your prayers adequately and summon a thrall. I like to use my death charge here as well, and pretty much just get situated and get ready to start the kill. One thing to note is that I do, by nature, put up Protect from Melee here when I start, because I'll be dumping specs and doing some things in my inventory, and Phosani's melee attack is actually 1 tick faster than the normal 4 tick attack that she usually does. So if you're not careful, that can really catch you off guard and hit you for up to like 75. So be very careful about that. Alright, so now here, all we're going to do is dump our specs. That's a mage attack. And here's the melee attack. You see that? Mage attack. That's a ranged attack. Pausing once again, this is one of Phosani's many different special attacks. So this one is called Spores, and basically these mushrooms will turn off your run, drain your prayer faster, and make it so that your attack speed is slower as well. So it's very important that you watch your pathing here and stay at least 2 tiles away from these spores. I'm now going to be performing an advanced method that a lot of people refer to as the corner technique, where I don't have to move about and I can still do DPS. This is an advanced technique that I recommend you practice, but it's definitely not necessary to secure your very first kill. As you can see, I've effectively DPS'd Phosani all the way down until I have to attack these totems. So we're not draining a totem's health, we're actually charging them up, so that's what's going on here. So you're going to want to be in your mage gear here like I am and start DPSing these towers. Pausing once again, this is another one of Phosani's special attacks. This is referred to as the dash. And this one's a really simple fix. All you have to do is stay out of the way in which Phosani's Nightmare is currently facing when she's in this position. So if I was in the middle of the arena, I would be in great danger. And yes, it is great danger because you can be hit up to an 80 if you're in her way. So this is a one-way ticket to Lumbridge if you're not careful. So watch out for this one. And now I'm going to let the kill play out until I have something else to add. Pausing once again, this is one of the best examples of Phosani's trying to throw you off your guard. So this is one of Phosani's special attacks, and people just know it as the husks. And when you have these husks around you, you cannot move. I just want to make that very clear. So what you need to do is switch to your melee gear, take your ham joint out, and then go ahead and attack them both. Be very clear and punctual and exact on your clicks here, because in this situation I need to kill them as fast as possible. As you'll notice, the towers have recently sent Phosani's into the next phase, and we're about to get a Sleepwalker. If you don't kill this Sleepwalker, you will die. There's a table that goes over Sleepwalker damage if you don't kill one or if you miss one, and in the first phase it's very imperative that you kill this Sleepwalker. So after I kill these husks, I'm going to switch to my Web Weaver bow, and for you it might be different. You might be a blowpipe or magic short bow, and then you're going to have to go ahead and kill the Sleepwalker. So I'll go ahead and let this play out. Congratulations, you made it past phase 1. Now we are on phase 2. I'll go ahead and let the kill play out until I need to pause it again. Pausing once again. So this is another one of Phosani's Nightmare special attacks, and this is just kind of where she shuffles your prayers up. But don't be worried because it's not random. It's actually very calculated. So what happens in this one is she moves your protection prayer that you are currently praying one to the left if you're looking at your protection prayers. For example, if I need to pray melee, now I need to click on my ranged prayer to pray melee. If I want to pray ranged, I need to click on my mage prayer to pray ranged. And if I want to pray magic, I need to click on my melee prayer to pray magic. This only lasts for 5 of Phosani's basic attacks, e.g. her magic attacks, range attacks, or melee attacks. And then you will return to normal prayers without them being shuffled. When I started Phosani's Nightmare, I had trouble recognizing when this special was in effect, which is why I paused the video at this point. As you'll notice, there is a pink haze at the top of my screen. This is a visual indicator that you are now in this special, and you will get an audio indicator as well that kind of sounds like a muffled like microwave that's breaking or something like that, like a, you know what I mean? One of those. So just pay attention as close as possible to this, and you don't want to get caught off guard because it's a great way to once again perish. Okay, I will now resume the video and pause when needed. Pausing once again, and I know he just paused, but I really want to get this out on the table. These black sort of holes that are in the ground right now. Obviously, if you step on one, you will take pretty significant damage, up to about 60 to 65 damage. I'm not sure of the exact number. All I know is it's a lot, and, you know, no one likes that. But the point of me pausing was, you see how they are clumped up right now? That's because they tend to clump up a lot more wherever you are. So it's important that when you have these coming out of the ground, that you try to stay on the move. And you'll notice that I do this here throughout the kill. Not here, sorry, but throughout the kill, you'll notice I try to stay on the move when Phosani's is doing multiple of these attacks at once. So I just kind of want to get that out. Okay, back to the kill. Pausing here, this is one of Phosani's special attacks, and it's important that you solve it correctly or else you'll take up to 70 to 75 damage. So here, Phosani's is summoning her Parasite, and that Parasite goes inside of your body. And then this is where, if you're an Iron Man, your Balm comes into play, or if you're a main account, or maybe you do have Sand Fuel in your Iron, which is super cool, this is where that'll come into play. So as soon as this Parasite hits you, you'll notice that my health orb turns to pink, and that means that you're currently diseased. All you need to do is click your health orb or drink directly from your potion, and that'll cure it. And then when the Parasite comes out, you switch to your melee gear with your Elder Maul, pray Piety, which is very important. Piety is very important. I can't stress that enough. And then you'll proceed to kill the Parasite. In rare instances, or actually pretty common, when you go to kill the Parasite, she'll do a floor attack with the black holes. So it's important that you watch your pathing before killing the Parasite, because if you don't and you click the Parasite too soon, it's liable to drag you, which can get you killed. Alright, I will let the kill play out. We are now entering a phase called Flower Power, and what you need to do to avoid taking damage is go in this section right here, where the flowers look healthy and normal. Notice here how I am staying on the move, because as I said, they will tend to clump around you, so I'm staying on the move. Usually a good time to move is right when the hands come out of the floor. Alright, that's the end of second phase. Now we have Sleepwalkers. You DPS them with their crossbow, blowpipe, or your magic shortbow. And now we are entering phase 3. All you have to do is do this all over again. So here we have Spores. The first time I showed you guys Spores, I was DPSing the boss, so I used the corner technique. In this one, unfortunately, you can't use it because there's no red X to pull you out from under the boss. So make sure you're using precise pathing here to stay away from those mushrooms. Pausing once again. So here we are met with a situation that could be handled pretty much two different ways. So unlike the other sleepwalkers, this third phase is imperative that you watch your clicks and get them right. So if you're using a crossbow, I just want to reiterate right now that you have to be tick perfect to get all of the sleepwalkers killed before they reach the boss. If you are not tick perfect, you will miss one, and you will get hit up approximately about a 42 to 45, something like that. Actually, no, I think it's about a 50. Regardless, we don't want that. So you have to be tick perfect, and as soon as they spawn, you need to click them. But if you would like to relax, I do it like this. I like to hit 2 of the sleepwalkers. So 1, 2, whichever, it doesn't matter what order you do them in. And then for the third one, I like to switch to my ham joint and then DPS it that way. So I'm going to let the kill play out again, but I just wanted to give special caution that third phase is one of the most dangerous because of the speed at which the sleepwalkers spawn and then start walking towards the boss. So okay, let's get back into the kill. Congratulations, you've just made it to Phase 4, which is the final phase of the Phosani's Nightmare. This does not include technically Phase 5, but that's really just Desperation phase, and there's no real things other than to DPS. So, now that you've made it to Phase 4, there's something that I've been wanting to get to. Phosani's is a cunt, and we know this, and so to combat this, we have to be smarter than her. So in this phase, if you're already praying a prayer and she decides to send that same style attack at you, she will first turn off your prayer and you have to re-enable it. And yes, this happens for the entirety of the phase. Phase 4 is undeniably one of the most excruciating and dreadful phases of this whole entire kill. I'd be willing to bet it's worse doing Phase 4 than it is to do the final phase, which also made me very nervous when I started as well. But never fear, as long as you're focusing on your prayers before DPSing the boss, that's what's going to keep you alive. If you get flustered and do everything at once, you're liable to die. Another thing here is that in Phase 4, Phosani's is much more likely to send a melee attack at you rather than switching it up often. So you will see more melee attacks on average than the other two styles. And with the melee attacks being one tick faster, it's imperative that you are ready for the melee attack to happen. This will keep you alive, and honestly, don't worry, it is a little bit nerve-wracking on your first time, but this phase will, I promise, will get easier over time, and before you know it, you'll lose track and won't even know you're in Phase 4 because it's just common nature to be aware of what's going on. You'll just kind of just be chilling and doing the kill, so without further ado, I'll get back into the kill, but I just want to make a special note of how Phase 4 works. Let's get right back into the kill. So once you've made it past phase 4, you'll want to DPS these guys and use that ham joint method for the 4th sleepwalker here. This is only necessary if you're using a crossbow or a magic shortbow. If you use a blowpipe, you just have to be tick perfect. Pausing once again, congratulations, you just made it to the Desperation phase. In the Desperation phase, Phosani's Nightmare has 150 HP, and it is your job to finish the job. In this phase, you're going to want to dump any specs that you have available, and you're going to want to make sure you're praying your piety, have your full DPS gear on in the melee slot, and you just want to kill Phosanis as fast as possible. A lot of times people will put up the redemption prayer, but if you know you have the DPS to do it, you don't need the redemption prayer. It's just for good measure. It's really subjective. I don't think I use it in this next part, but keep that in mind that it definitely does help if your DPS is a little less. You can only redemption twice if you get below 10 HP here. The third time usually will not work because of the way the numbers add up. So if you don't have hard food, you might be dead. You can kill the sleepwalkers, but that's really for niche situations. I never do. So in this phase, dump your specs and get the DPSing, and it will be a constant black hole attack until the boss dies. Alright, good luck, and I'm going to let the rest of the kill play out. No way! Oh, no way! No way! I actually got a drop. I got a drop on the guide. Dude, I can't make this up. I literally can't make this up. I literally can't make this up. I got a drop on the guide. Oh my god, dude. It's a dupe. Look, 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 look. It's a dupe, but I can't make this up. I literally got a drop on the guide. Holy shit. Oh my god. Alright. Let me get my composure. So, everyone, thank you so much for watching this quick guide on the on how to kill the Phosani's Nightmare. And yeah, if you haven't already, please check out my series. It would mean the world if you showed some love and maybe left a little cheeky comment on what your favorite episode is, and thank you for checking out my guide. Holy shit, I got a drop, dude. Holy shit. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace.